Hey RDs, this is the new budget tool that I'm going to have you guys use instead of the crew budget tool that you guys have been using for several years now. So I'm going to walk through a short tutorial now, and then I'm going to try and schedule one-on-one meetings with you guys to make sure you fully understand what this budget tool is doing and kind of its purposes behind it. So the main idea behind this budget tool is one, to give you guys a budget that you guys will want to use on a regular basis, that budgets in the same way that you intend to spend money, in the same categories as your strategic plan, but also make it easy enough and understandable enough so this is helpful for you to manage your money for your ministry. So that this is not something that's scary or unknown, but this is something fairly easy to grasp and manage. So I'm going to go through. I'm just going to kind of go tab by tab. There's 3 tabs in this budget, and I'm going to show you guys how to use them. So we'll start at the top. So the current account balance, if you guys begin to manage this on a monthly basis, that this will give you a fairly accurate picture of where your account is. That will require you on the beginning of the fiscal year, basically September 1st, enter your account balance. And then you have a space where you can update. So last updated, you can plug in a date the last time that you plugged in transactions or something like that. So you know when you're updating it from. So if you notice, if you look in column A here, I've got several categories in these gray lines with the bold text. So the first one is revenue, which is your donations, assessments, and internal transfers. So that may seem familiar from the last tool. So the assessments will be automatically calculated based on your donations on the 20% marker, and internal transfers has no assessment. And so then you've got global, and these are just suggested ways you can spend in global. These are all editable. You can choose what you want to spend money on in these different categories. Staff growth, leadership development, resources for staff, conferences, oneness, maybe maintaining your CTR, going out to lunch with somebody, launching HBCUs, fiscal stewardship. So in this one, I just have a fund development one. And so this is your spend money to make money line. This is take donors out to lunch, buy donors gifts, take donors to a baseball game, etc., host a banquet. The banquet might have its own line. So you would just add something like this. So that as you're going through, you can budget for the events or tactics that you have on your strategic plan. So growing where we're not. So, you've got launch 5 campuses, or maybe it's visit a new campus. In growing where we are, I would put in, like, when you visit your team leaders, you need funds for that. So include that in there. Operational costs is not part of your strategic plan, but this is an area where you guys all spend money that's not listed on your strategic plan. So you guys all travel for national campus team meetings. Some of you guys will reimburse your cell phones. Some of you guys need to buy paper or pens or ink for your printer. Sometimes having a director relations line is helpful, because that's, I see a staff when I go to winter retreat and I decide that I'm going to go out to lunch with them, or even buy them lunch. Different things like that as you relate and do things for your staff. You send them birthday cards or whatever. That would be in your director's relations line. So that's kind of about the categories. The gray line categories are what will not change. What you will change is the different things in each category. So this is the Great Lakes one that I began to work with Kate Daniker on a couple days ago. So this is kind of an in-progress budget, and then some numbers that I plugged in just to show you kind of what it would look like. So you'll see there's four other columns here, B through E, and they each have a title. So the budget column, this is the numbers that would appear on your strategic plan or what you would like things to happen. So this is, my plan is to raise $13,500. I may only raise 10 or I might raise 15. So this is the benchmark goal for the year. The allocated column, this is your like actual funds. So at the beginning of the year, this account is going to have $6,200 in it. So which means they can only allocate up to $6,200. So like about half of that is allocated right now. But as you raise funds throughout the year, you could utilize that in your budget. And so you can add to the allocated column. And so, if I'm going to spend $500 in my global partnership, then I would say I definitely have those funds right now. So I'm going to put 500 right there. So that's your allocated column. You can see that when I type that in, the global column automatically summed that. And so it'll sum all of this for you automatically. So you know how much in each category. This one's spent. Spent column's pretty self-explanatory. It's the money that you spend. So if you click on these, you don't actually type anything in these because you can see there's a formula up here. You don't need to know that formula. You just need to know what it's doing. And I'll explain that when we get to the next tab down at the bottom. Your fourth column is remaining, and that's just literally doing the math between allocated and spent to show you how much you have left in each line. So the next two lines I want to call your attention to. So if I scroll to the bottom here, you've got line 8 right here, which has your total budget. So this is how much I'm planning on spending in all of my categories. This is how much I'm planning on allocating, how much I'm planning on spending, and how much I have remaining in all those categories. And so that's all expenditure into your budget. Line 47 here is your net. So basically this is calculating for the revenue section. That's saying based on everything I want to spend and everything I want to raise, I want to make 7,500 this year. So it could be the other way around where you spend more than you make and you're spending down your account balance. So this could be as far negative as 6,200. And so then that would appear in red. So notice the spent columns appear in red. And if it's overspent, like Spring Break Scholarships doesn't have any funds allocated to it. And we've spent 2,000 here. And so it's negative 2,000 for this example. So column F is a notes column. So if you want to write any notes to yourself about any of these, more specifics or things like that. Also, there's going to be some helpful links, some GL codes if you want those, budget spending norms, which I pulled from Crew Campus. These are when they budget, they use things like, average $400 on a flight, average this much on a hotel room throughout the year. And so if you want to take a look at those could help you budget. And then this video will actually be linked right here if you need a reminder. So now let's talk about the spent column. Let's go to its transaction list on tab 2. So you see all these right here. Right now, what this is from my AIA. So if I click over here, you guys notice I'm in the finance account section and my account lookup. I'm looking up the Campus National account. And so here's my transaction list. So literally what I did was I started here and I clicked and held, and then I drag all the way over to the right-hand column and then just right click and copy. And then I went over here and I pasted it in. I just selected A2 right here. And you just do right click paste. And so then it gives you all of that information. So you got your dates and your amounts and your purposes. And so the only new column is column I over here. So if you do these drop downs, it's going to give you this huge list of stuff. And these are just the same as over here. So that one's selected as global partnership. And so if we look over here, the amount in there is spending $3,500. So if I click on back here, we look at global partnership and we move over, it says $3,500. So then we'll go back here. So that's kind of the same with all of these. So you see the internal transfers, there's 60 and there's a 2,500. So if we go back over here, internal transfers says 2,500 plus 60. So that's 2,560 in there. Now, so you have the option of doing this every month. And so when you paste these in here, you just say, hey, this transaction goes to this. And so one of the other features is that this is set to filter. And so if I click here, I can say, I just want to see my internal transfers. And so I'm going to uncheck everything else and just click internal transfers, click OK. And so that's going to tell me all of my internal transfers for the year. So I want to select all and see them all again. Now, the third tab, monthly budget breakdown. So this looks like a lot, and this can actually do way more than what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I just built this in. This is kind of a lot of background math. If you guys want to do some more detailed budget planning, I can explain the detailed breakdown in our one-on-one conversation. Where I want you guys to focus is up here, lines 1 through 7. All right. So you notice the months in line 3. Okay. And then you've got total budget income, expenses, total budget net, and your actual net. So what each of these are doing, this is your total budget income. So when you plan your total budget income, is you want to plan for, okay, back on my budget main, I'm planning on raising $13,500. Okay. So in these 12 months, I want to say, okay, where am I going to raise that? So maybe it's $5,000 in October, and it's going to be, $8,000 in April when I have my funding banquet. And then in expenses, it's, I'm going to transfer some stuff to staff in September, and I'm going to do a Govember event. So there's going to be money spent there. I'm going to go to winter retreat in February. There's going to be money spent there. I'm going to spend money in April for my funding banquet, kind of the spend money to make money idea. And then I'm going to scholarship some students in June. And then this line 6 will automatically subtract those from one another. So you get a net total. And then the actual net, this actually populates itself as well. So you really only have to worry about lines 4 and 5, these top two, because this will actually populate itself from the transaction list. So that's the budget tool in short. If you have more questions, let me know, but I will be trying to reach out to you guys and let you know about opportunities to learn more. So this is one of the things we're asking you to do this year. So I'm making space in my schedule to do one-on-one trainings with each of you. Or if you have somebody in your region who will handle finances for you, have them contact me and we'll do the same thing with them.